don't rush, don't rush. Oh, a shoe! Don't rush, don't rush. I don't rush, don't rush. Hey, have your shoe back, Valerie. I didn't get invited to do any don't rush challenges online, so just doing my own. Sod ya. It's Tom Campbell from Isolation Station 24601 with some wrestling news. We have an update on further WWE releases. A current world champion is off television until July, and the Revival's new name has been revealed. Find out what it is in a little bit. So we're at the end of a very long week for WWE and for wrestling in general. It was on Wednesday that 30 plus WWE superstars plus a whole load of staff and backstage people, producers and writers were all let go or furloughed from the company amid the current ongoing pandemic. We've had an update from Dave Meltzer regarding what is next. From The Observer, Dave says, "We were told as far as the main roster, all of the cuts have been made. As for NXT, all the release names aren't known, and unlike the main roster, the belief is that there are more to come. We're told everyone who isn't featured heavily on NXT television is sweating on this. The NXT talent cuts will only be on 30-day no-compete." So let's break this down a little bit. So we know that there's going to be no more main roster cuts, apparently, according to Dave Meltzer. What we've seen is what there is. NXT, possibly some more to come. We saw a couple of names that were released on Wednesday, and these were names from the NXT on the road live circuit. So if you're not aware, as well as NXT on a Wednesday night, there is a touring live sort of strand of NXT which features not so much the guys you see on TV, but a lot of guys who are on the bubble underneath. Now, obviously, live shows aren't running at the moment, so there is possibly some cuts to come from there, which is devastating because it's guys who haven't quite made it through yet onto the main product. So there's some tough ones there still to come, but we're keeping an eye on that as it happens right now. There's been lots of talk as well about the mood at WWE HQ right now, which I believe Jack talked about this morning, how something like 40% of the staff aren't in the building anymore for either whether they're released or furloughed, working elsewhere. So it's a really strange time for WWE, and possibly some NXT names coming. Might be about to get a little bit stranger. Wrestling Observer spoke to two people who have ownership interests in major sports this past week to get their view on what is currently occurring in WWE. No names have been revealed in this, but a partial owner of a major league franchise whose season also is in jeopardy said that they were appalled by Vince McMahon's layoff decision. I got the quote from them right here. They say, "I've had to do 2 layoffs in my life and they both sucked, but I always understood they sucked more for the people being laid off. I know a few people in the wrestling business, one who lost their job in the furlough today. I understand layoffs, but given WWE's cash position, the essential business status they negotiated, the unsafe conditions they're already asking workers to commit to, and the fact that they are doing so much better than every other live or place-based business, for them to be the first company in the business to have such a significant layoff is unpalatable. I bought tickets to WrestleMania and was excited to go. I enjoyed watching the empty arena cinematic 2-day show they put on and plan to be a loyal customer to with the company until this. With everything that is going on in the world, we need leadership. What WWE did today is the antithesis of that and renders everything they said about showing up for the fans meaningless. I am a fan and I care about the talent." One other industry face, who again has remained nameless, said that they could sympathise with Vince McMahon as a publicly traded company, doing what you have to do, but he noted the timing of the cuts looks the worst. So this is the thing that a lot of people have talked about, is that business is business. And I saw a lot of messages and I got a lot of tweets regarding how this is just what businesses are doing. Absolutely. This is what a lot of businesses are doing outside of wrestling. We are aware of the outside world and that there are companies, small, large, that are making massive changes, and there is so much devastation being done to businesses around the world. The issue here is that it didn't necessarily have to go this way. WWE have like a financial reserve, and there wasn't anybody pushing them to make these cuts now, especially in a time where there is no other wrestling for anybody to go and work at. Like there was no pressure for this to happen right this very second, but they did it anyway. We're very aware that part of this could be due to the fact that obviously they're a publicly traded company, so you want to be seen to be doing something to protect the company and the long-term business of the company. This is going to be a discussion that we have for a long time, and there'll probably be more videos that we have where we talk about it as well. But as it stands in terms of the talent, which is what we're talking about right now, no more main roster cuts by the looks of things. NXT cuts possibly coming, and the 30-day no-competes, slightly different to the 90-day ones that standard WWE employees get, which normally means they guarantee 3 months worth of money, essentially. NXT guys will get a month's worth, if that is what this means. But we'll continue to keep an eye on it. This is it's wild and woolly times right now. Taking a look at some of the other wrestling from around the world outside of WWE and how they are reacting to this. A lot of points this week go to Ring of Honor. This has been talked about for a couple of people on Twitter. I've seen Katarina Walters tweeting about this, who's been working with Ring of Honor. A few other Ring of Honor stars talking about this as well. And Meltzer confirms this in the Wrestling Observer, who says ROH have been paying non-contracted talent, whether it be wrestlers booked at a pay-per-show basis, or ring crew or cameramen or referees that were originally booked for shows that were cancelled. So if anybody was booked on a Ring of Honor show that has been cancelled as a result of the pandemic, Ring of Honor are paying them, which is a real touch of class from Ring of Honor. I know it's been a rocky 6 months for them that we have covered here at Cultaholic as well, but that's a class move. That's a real class move. AAA are getting back into the game. AAA are running their first empty arena shows from next week. They're going to be putting out shows on Saturday nights on YouTube and Facebook Live. Not Twitch though, which is strange because I know they're partners with Twitch. Or they have a heavy subscriber base with Twitch that they could use to sort of make some money back on these shows. But be that as it may, they're running a Lucha Fighter tournament featuring 16 men, 8 women, and 4 minis. This comes from the Wrestling Observer. No names announced yet, nor a format, nor a location for the taping. But they are definitely running stuff in empty arenas, which seems to be en vogue at the moment. Impact Wrestling are doing exactly the same thing. Get this right, Impact Wrestling, they found a location in Tennessee where they can go and film empty arena shows. And in the space of 3 days, this is incredible work ethic. In the space of 3 days, Impact Wrestling filmed 12 weeks worth of television. Like 12 weeks in 3 days. The 12 episodes of Impact crammed into 3 long days of filming. The issue with this is that we won't see a major world champion on TV until July, and that being the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard was unable, according to reports, to make it to these tapings, so she will not be featured on Impact Television, at least in an in-ring capacity, until the middle of the summer now, which is unusual for a world champion. But these are extraordinary times that we live in, and if for whatever reason Tessa Blanchard could not make it to those 3 days worth of tapings, they've just got to get the tapings done. So they found a way just to do them. Whether or not this will play out on TV in some way, whether there's stuff coming up from Impact that we don't know about yet, I don't know. But it looks as if the Impact World Heavyweight Champion, Tessa Blanchard, could be off Impact Wrestling until the summer. And Bobby Lashley, but not Bobby Lashley. Let's talk about the Revival, shall we? They were let go from WWE just before, days before, it feels like, all of this stuff with the layoffs kicked off, and they've made very quick progress to rebrand and refashion and redefine themselves. So we know that Scott Dawson on Twitter is now known as Dax Harwood, Dash Wilder is Cash Wheeler, and we now have a name for the team because it looks as if they did a whole bunch of trademarking recently. Did the former Dawson and Wilder. Got to get used to calling them Harwood and Wheeler now. And it looks as if amongst the things that they trademarked, along with No Flips, Just Fists, and Say Yeah, Top Guys, Shatter Machine, FTRKO, cheeky. They also trademarked Fear the Revolt. FTR, Fear the Revolt. So it looks as if they're going to be rebranding themselves as The Revolt, which is similar enough to The Revival, but not too dissimilar to let people forget who they were. So there's lots to be done with this. I'm really intrigued to see what The Revolt, if that's what they're called, are going to be doing next. Obviously, at the moment, there's not a lot of wrestling to be done, and it's just a case of sitting tight and seeing where things pan out. I also would, it's also a 90-day no-compete as well. I think that's in place with them. I think that is the case, but even so, I doubt we're going to see them doing anything until all this has calmed down anyway. So it'll probably be sort of the end of the summer where we see them turning up. I was thinking on this, the obvious answer is AEW. But how about a little stint on NWA Power? A little bit on Power? That'd be good fun, that, wouldn't it? I'm down for that. They'd be great on NWA Power. They just fit that old school style. I'm very much up for that. Look out for The Revolt coming to a wrestling show near you once wrestling shows start up again, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. So that'll do it for your wrestling news for today, and unless other stuff breaks for the rest of this week. But it's been one of those weeks, isn't it? It's been exhausting for all involved. We continue to send our love and our best to everybody who has been affected by some of the stuff that has happened over the last 48 hours. We've covered, I think, as much of it as we can right now, and we'll obviously continue to let you know more. We want to also say thank you once again. I never want us to part at the end of a week without saying thank you, because you constantly supporting what we do here at Cultaholic in these unusual circumstances is forever appreciated by myself, by Adam, by Ross, by Jack, by Sam, by Justin Henry, by Aidan, by Owen, by Andrew, by Daniel, by Lewis, by our entire writing staff, our production staff, by Jen as well. Hi Jen, how you doing? Love you Jen, miss you Jen. By everybody that is associated with Cultaholic, our many freelance producers and video editors as well. Thank you so much from all of us to you for continuing to support what we do, and a massive thank you to you if you are one of those amazing people who are out there on the front line working for hospitals and care homes and working in delivery and just keeping the world ticking with a little bit of normality. We will forever be grateful. Thank you so much for all that you do. Let's hope for a slightly more chilled one next week. Let's see. I've jinxed it now, haven't I? Have yourselves an amazing weekend. You've more than earned it. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.